Welcome to the Signature Canine video series, where we're taking a look at all the new stuff coming out of the shop and some of your old school favorites that are getting a facelift.
So in this week's video, we've got a half sleeve. And essentially what this dude is it's the bottom half of a removable bar sleeve. It doesn't have all the parts that's going to go up into the shoulder cuff and stuff like that. And the cover itself is not removable. But what it is I can put it on and wear it. I can grab it and I can two-hand it. I can use the handle in the back. I can attach a rope to the handle and use it to spin around, or use it to set a dog's grip after I've slipped the equipment. Again, I can give him some misses two-hand if I want to put it on and kind of show him what it's going to look like with a sleeve on without having to give him a full, without having to show him a full sleeve. It's pretty slick for targeting because, my bite area is basically just straight in front of me. So as I'm targeting a young dog and I'm kind of getting him going, it kind of gives me a really nice target area right down the center here. And it eliminates all the jute that kind of comes up this way that can be a little distracting as as I'm working a dog. The other nice thing about this that I really like for a young dog, especially if you've got a young quick dog, is that this part of it's collapsible. So basically, if he runs into it, say we have a bad day and helper's a little off, dog's a little off, something goofy happens, and my dog comes into the sleeve hard. And this thing will compress. Now I'm not saying it's going to save, it's going to save a flyer's life or anything, but it puts you in a position for a young dog to not have as many bad experiences. He goes kind of banging into this thing, boom, it pops down. It's got like a little built-in shock absorber to it in this direction. The nice thing about it also is that the front bite bar profile is pretty large. So dog really has to open his mouth. He's got to open his mouth and he's got to commit to putting his mouth around this thing. It's not like a wedge toy where he can kind of get the front of it and get into it all right. With this, he's actually got to get his mouth open and get around it, because you can see this is, it's about 3-4 fingers wide. So he's got to open his mouth up and really come into that thing to get it. The other nice thing about it is the back section of this is actually kind of solid. So there's basically a piece of plastic that goes in the back of here. And this part's not very collapsible. Where this is collapsible so he can grip it easy and it's nice and, it's reasonably firm for a starting sleeve. This is is pretty stiff. And I put it on and you can see my arm is about right here in this sleeve. My edge of my hand is right here. This is where the handle is, and the edge of my arm is right here, which means I've got this much bite bar until the dog actually gets into my arm. Now, where that's kind of an advantage is that if I've got a dog that I want to work, let's say he needs a little targeting work or he has a little trouble here or there, it puts me in a position where he's biting a little harder, maybe harder than I want to put onto a puppy sleeve, but he still needs to get a little targeting work, and I want to get him kind of centered up a little better. Or I've got a young dog that's a big comer and a hard biter, and I just don't want to push him along that fast. It puts me in a position where, one, my helper can stay safe, or I can stay safe. I can help keep my dog safe from the impact on this, and it reduces costs. Instead of having, potentially a couple different bridge sleeves, you can kind of go from a wedge toy into this toy, which is a nice tool in the toolbox. And then you can basically potentially jump a sleeve and get him into something stiffer kind of moving down the road and not have to push him that fast. You can have him basically on a sleeve, working on a piece of equipment like that, but keep him on an age-appropriate piece of equipment that's developed for a young dog, as opposed to, you end up on a trial sleeve or you end up on a harder sleeve with a dog that's really a little young. He doesn't need a wedge anymore. He needs to go to a sleeve. Well, this gives us the ability to kind of fill that gap and give my young dog something that he can work on, we can train on, we can continue working on without any issues, without having to, like I said, jump up into something that appears to him as a trial sleeve. I can kind of bring him along at a reasonable pace on that sort of thing. Anyway, that's what we got. This is our half sleeve. I think it's part number 9605. If you get a chance, check it out.